2024 was pretty awesome. I will say there were some tough times. There were some things that we all went through as an industry, I work in the video game industry. It's not all sunshine and roses, but we also know that the challenges are what's going to make us stronger. So coming into 2025, we have some work to do. We've got some things that we need to plan out for ourselves. If you're an artist or if you're a creative, maybe you got some plans that you want to get things done in 2025. Maybe you realize employment isn't the most stable thing that you could find. Maybe you're thinking it's time to start your own business. In this video, I want to talk about planning out what we can do. It's just going to be generally to motivate myself. Maybe you get something out of this. I try to do this every year where I sit down and I go, all right, what's my roadmap? What are my plans? What do I want to accomplish? And what mentality should I have moving forward? And because it's more interesting than watching a talking head, I'm going to be doing some painting while I'm chatting about this. And these are just my personal approaches, my personal philosophies. But first and foremost, you got to remember everything in your life is going to be based on your perception of the events that are occurring to you. They can be something that stops you, or they can be something that strengthens you and makes you stronger. As we learned, if you're a reader of Naruto, you'll know what I'm talking about. You got to take a Rock Lee approach. It doesn't matter if everyone else around you has talent, if everyone else around you is wealthy or has a gift. If it's easier for them, great. That means you will become stronger because of the challenges that you face. That is the mentality that you want to have going forward if you're going to succeed, especially in a highly competitive industry such as video games. I work in indie video games now. The competition is more fierce than ever before. And I say, bring it on, baby. I'm ready for it. I will just get better. So I would say that's like number one. Number one thing that I'm trying to keep in mind this year is that it is not a competition with the rest of the world. I'm not competing with other artists. I'm not competing with other indie games. I'm not competing with anyone except my past self. Is the project that I'm working on this year better than what I had accomplished before? Am I finding greater satisfaction in the work? Am I finding greater satisfaction in the interactions I'm having with my team? Am I growing as a person? These are questions that you can ask yourself that we don't often pay attention to because it's not quantifiable. This isn't like looking at a number on a scale and going, oh, I lost 3 pounds. You're not looking at something with a definitive quantifiable volume or value. You have to assess it yourself and go, wow, could I have done the same thing that I did this year that I did last year? And if you're facing challenges this year, don't see them as something that is an obstacle. See them as something that is going to strengthen you. So obviously, there's new challenges that are popping up in our industry, in the video game industry, in the animation industry, in the entertainment industry. But consumers still want to be entertained. And that means that there will always be opportunities for you to create things that people will be inspired by, that people will want to buy, that people will always want to escape their world, their reality. And so with things like VR on the rise, with things like indie game development on the rise, with things like basically just smaller teams of more passionate, creative people are going to find more success in 2025 than the big conglomerate corporate AAA games that we've seen in the past, the big blockbuster movies that become bloated and now they have to perform at such a high level. And that leaves room for the small fries that are really just passionate about their creative endeavors to thrive. And that's how I see it. I always see so much opportunity all around me everywhere I go. If I had no money today, I could earn a living from my art tomorrow. And I know that with absolute certainty. There is not a single doubt in my mind about it because I see opportunities everywhere I look. And it's oftentimes not where most people are looking. And so it's going to be important in 2025 to look at places where there is customer demand, not enough people providing that service to them. Or if there's something that does have a success, maybe there's a way to piggyback from that to get attention on your own work from that. But if you're looking to make a successful business around your art, then you have to find the audience and you have to choose an audience that's underserved and then give them what they want. And that's always changing, but it's exciting. And that's why every year it's good to like reassess. Is my audience dried up? Is there no interest in this kind of content anymore? And that's kind of, it'll never end. You can never get comfortable. You can never relax. You'll always have to strive to be better. And this is part of what I mean when I say striving to be better. Now, these are my goals. I personally need to feel a constant sense of growth, or else I feel like I'm stagnating. I'm wasting my time. I spent a couple of years of my life wasting my time not trying as hard as I could to constantly grow and develop and not trying to one up myself, my past self. And I was disappointed in the work. I felt like I strayed from my goals. I wasn't getting closer to what I wanted to achieve. And that's something else that I wanted to mention is that, and it's something that I'm trying to keep in mind this year is like, it doesn't matter if you're growing exponentially or if you're just growing a little bit, but always grow a little bit more in the direction you want to go. Every day, try to look at everything that you're doing and ask yourself, is this steering closer towards my lighthouse of where it is that I want to end up? And this really helps. And I mention this every year. And I think if you're new here, you might not have heard it, but it's very important that you write down what your both long-term goal is and what your short-term goal is. If you don't write this down, you're just flowing aimlessly. Before you know it, you're doing something that's completely unlike what you wanted to be doing. And there's nothing wrong with art being something that isn't your career goal. It could just be that you want to write that comic book story that you've always wanted to do, but you keep getting distracted with new video games. This is a perfect example. Maybe you're just playing video games or you're playing sports or something, but you're not getting any closer to finishing your comic book that you've always dreamed of making. So ask yourself every day, am I making just a little bit of progress? Even if it's just a little note or a line of dialogue for a character or a little reference like, oh, look at how this comic over here did this thing. And maybe that's the best way to do this action sequence is how they did it in this movie or this type of character. Maybe you want to really identify what your characters are about a little bit more. Any little movement that just checks you a little bit closer to what that short-term and long-term goal are is a progress. But if you're looking at your list every day of your goals and you're seeing that you're getting nowhere near closer to those things, then it's time to change your strategy. It's time to assess, what am I doing wrong? One, how can I find out what I'm doing wrong? Sometimes that's a matter of asking a professional. Sometimes it's a matter of doing the right kind of tutorial. Maybe you're feeding the wrong information into yourself. Maybe it's time to take a step back and ask yourself, am I listening to the right people that are in the industry that I want to pursue? There's a lot of people on YouTube now. So if you wanted to be a film writer, there's people that talk about film writing. If you want to be a comic book artist, there's comic book artists on YouTube now. There's concept artists, there's programmers, there's indie game developers. And sometimes we have to take a step back and go, am I actually making progress towards what my goals are? For me, this year, one of my big goals is to get back to YouTube. Now, as many of you are very, very aware, if you follow my channel, I've been developing an indie game based on Twilight Monk. Twilight Monk is something that I've been developing as a series of novels and art books and comic books for over 20 years now. And I got a little bit of funding and we're developing it as a Metroidvania and it's coming out this year. I'm actually done with the art for the game. And now it's time to get back to doing some YouTube. It's time to get back to, it's kept me so busy. You have no idea how much work goes into making a game, making all the art for a game, writing the script, managing a team, managing the business side of it, the marketing and all that stuff, strategizing. There's so much work to it. I've worn so many hats that this year, I'm really going to try to get back to being in YouTube a little bit more. I've signed up to do a couple of art pieces for Marvel Snap, which is a card game. And so I wanted to get back to doing some Marvel art. It feels like art has taken a lot more of a back seat, I should say, than, game development. And so because game development is so consuming, but I'm really looking forward to getting back to doing more art and teaching more art here on YouTube. For me, a big part of my plans for 2025 are to be more present, to be more involved with the community. So to have more conversations like this, and I'm hoping that I can get back to just posting more videos than currently. I think for the last 2 years, I've been doing about 1 video per week on average. And I want to bump that up I'm hoping that I can reach to 2 or 3 videos per week. And it'd be more educational, be more personable. I want to show you guys more of the things that are inspiring me. I want to show you more of the behind the scenes of developing Twilight Monk and how to make your own games. What this channel can be is a little bit more behind the curtain of what goes into the process, whether it's something that you want to do yourself or whether it's something that you just enjoy as a fan. I'm hoping that I can find myself a video editor. So if you're somebody who has some video editing chops and you'd like to work with me, please do reach out to me. I'm really hoping to get to making more workshops. I've got several workshops that I have planned. I've got sort of a list that I keep on the side, and maybe this is something that you could do. If you are sitting down to write out your list of all the things that you're hoping to achieve or get to within the next few years, having a list of sort of short-term projects that you can work on that will bring you closer to that skill set is very helpful. More things I can't wait to get to in 2025. Oh man, more videos, more art. I've got World of Twilight Monk Volume 2. I still want to do this art book, man. I got tons of artwork. I had to put it on hold because a lot of the artwork I needed to make for the game isn't like the same kind of artwork that I would do for an art book. So it's kind of a world guide. If you guys don't know, there is already Volume 1 of the World of Twilight Monk Volume 1. It's a 100-page art book, full color, 8.5 by 11 in size. It's a nice big fat book. I want to do a Volume 2. I've already got 80 pages of it done. I just need to like put in the last little bit. So I'm thinking that this year I want to buckle down and get to putting together some of those final pieces that I want to do. It might be more illustrations, just more fancy artwork in the Twilight Monk universe. There's so many moments of the game that I would love to like draw out as illustrations. And even that could be, oh my God, so beautiful. And I just looking forward to getting back to drawing scenes and moments and characters from this universe in a very like illustrative style that I kind of haven't been able to do while working on the game, because most of the time while working on the game, I'm moving plants around, I'm putting statues in the background, I'm moving rocks and making sure that like the plants like wave and oh, well, you know, there's all this stuff with game development that quite frankly pulls you away from doing the design work and the world building and the story writing, you know. And so like, I'm really looking forward to getting back to that. I would love to dig into the next parts of the story that occur. I've already written a draft for the, right now I'm planning DLC, add-on story. What happens after the events of the game? I've already started. Yeah, I've got so many stories that I would love to tell in the universe of Twilight Monk, and it gets bonkers. It gets crazy, and I can't wait to share that with people. But got to release the first game first. And then we've got big plans with Gravity Games, our publishing partner, coming up then. It's a lot of stuff I can't talk about, but we do know that Twilight Monk will be out sometime in 2025, and it's probably sooner than you might think. Got some big announcements coming up with that. It's very, very soon. So that's been a lot longer video than what I had originally anticipated. I would love to hear your goals for this year. What are you working towards? Are you writing it down? Are you working on incremental steps to get a little bit closer to that goal? I'd love to hear what your thoughts are in the comments below. I'm going to be back next week, maybe in a few days, with another art video. So don't forget to subscribe. And until next time, I'll see you guys then in the next video, really. So ciao. Bye.